The bad news is simply that we found a lot going on. And sentences like, wow, I didn't realize so much was going on, or sentences like, I'm really anxious. Yeah, I didn't realize so much was going on, and I'm really anxious to have a look at those x-rays today, doc. So the only thing that's going to determine whether it's important for them to do is if there's enough reasons for them to justify to themselves that they need it. And you've done that on day one, but you need to recap that now. That's point number 2. Hey doc, so I hope you had an amazing time going through all the steps of day one. Listen, that particular part of this entire crash course really makes a massive difference to whether you're going to be successful in this game or not. Honestly, most people come to me and they say, please help me with my report of findings. And I normally say to them, a report of findings is almost never a report of findings problem. A report of findings problem is almost always a day one. So when we're going through the sections in report of findings now, just remember that I said that. A report of findings problem or a lack of conversion problem is almost always a day one problem, except for certain circumstances where we have price positioning problems, etc. So let's go through it. Listen, on a day 2, in my view, there are 9 steps to making a report of findings successful. I'm going to go through them with you now. Number 1, we say good news is, bad news is. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is make it real again. I'll explain that in a moment. Step number 3 is explain what we're looking for and explain that healing takes time. Okay, that's step number 3. Step number 4 is show them their problem, and then we want to do something called a test close. Point number 5 is manage healing time expectations. Point number 6 is recommendations. Point number 7 is their finances. Point number 8 is their first adjustment. And point number 9 is what I call the triangle. Okay, docs, let's get straight into it. So when someone returns for a report of findings from their day one, you can ask them a basic question. You can ask them how they found their day one. And it's really interesting to me for me to see what responses I get or what responses you get. It'll often tell you if you did a good job on day one. And sentences like, wow, I didn't realize so much was going on, or sentences like, I'm really anxious. Yeah, I didn't realize so much was going on, and I'm really anxious to have a look at those x-rays today, doc. That would indicate that you did a pretty good job on day one. And once you gauge the initial feelings about day one and got a good feeling of it, you may want to ask some follow-up questions, but typically go straight into something called good news and bad news. And it just simply goes something like, so John, let's get straight into it. I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. Pause. The good news is we can absolutely help you. And we've helped hundreds and thousands of people just like you. The bad news is that we did find a lot going on, and that will take both time and commitment to get corrected. But we absolutely will be able to get that corrected, or get that sorted, or get that fixed. So let me go through that one more time. So you're going to say, after you've gauged their initial feelings on day one, is, so Doc, John, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. Pause. The good news is that we can absolutely help you, and we've helped thousands of patients just like you. The bad news is simply that we found a lot going on, and that will take both time and commitment to get corrected, but we absolutely will get you there. So you see how we go, good news, and sense like a double barrel question again. It's, I've got some good news and some bad news. You want to say that first, then go into the good news is, the bad news is, and then, but we absolutely will get you there. That really sets us up for, again, building a little bit of tension into the examination. Now, into the report of findings. Now, the second part of our report of findings, you will see how important it is that which I spoke about on day one, about building that tension and building those pain points so that they can justify to themselves why they need this thing. Why would they give you their hard-earned cash? Let's go straight into point number 2. Let's go straight into point number 2. And once you've set up context, you've done good news and bad news, and set a bit of tension there, you want to make it real again, which is point number 2, make it real again. Remember, they might have been away for a few days, and there's this imaginary scale that's in all our minds, right? Or in your patient's minds. And typically what happens is, as explained on day 1, The point of selling is they need to justify to themselves that they need this care. That's a critical part to this selling chiropractic thing. It's not about you enforcing your beliefs on them about why chiropractic care is so important, but if there's enough reasons why, then the need for the service goes up. Now, you've done a good job on day one. You've brought up the pain, you brought up the challenges, you spoke to their struggle, if you will, but now they've been away for a couple of days. So a couple of rules of thumb is 72 hours maximum between day one and day two. One of the biggest mistakes and simple avoidable mistakes I see in chiropractic is people wait way too long and they let people come 7 days later. I know it can't always be helped, people going away, etc. But make no mistake, it absolutely affects your conversions. There's a little saying, time with increases conversions, time between decreases conversions, kills conversions. Time between day one and day two, time between lead coming in, the telephone call made. This is not a marketing course, but here's some of the teachings we do in our Inner Circle program and DC Practice Growth. So, making real gain is about going through their initial challenges they gave you and getting affirmation from them. That's all it is, right? So we want to lead with the question like, hey, just to make sure, just before we go, have a look at your results and your x-rays, some tension might be building up again. That's good. We just want to, is it okay if I just run through exactly what we spoke about last time, just to make sure I didn't miss anything or you didn't forget anything? And here's what's the interesting thing. What I see when I look at tapes and reviews and videos of people doing this, the biggest mistake people make is they don't pause and let the patient acknowledge. The definition of communication is a words or communication moving over time and space and being received by the receiver. But if you're never pausing to see if they've received it, that is literally bad communication, right? So when we want to make it real again, what we literally mean is, remember, you're selling something invisible. It doesn't exist to them. They don't understand. They can't see, touch, and feel it. So you have to have enough reasons to justify the service. And in this case, that is pain, struggle, challenges. So I want to recap that now because I've been away for however many days. And it's simply going through. John, would it be okay if I ran through just a quick recap of what we spoke about last time, just to make sure I didn't miss anything or you didn't forget anything? Write that little sentence down. And then we're going to go, so you said you had the back pain, you came for the back pain, you initially thought that was the biggest challenge that you have right now, but then when I asked you, you said the migraines were the biggest, yes? Then we go through. Now, you also mentioned that you were getting it every day when it was at its worst, and at its worst one ever, you couldn't even leave the room, you literally had to turn the lights off. Is that correct? Pause. Yes. And you go through the whole history. You might get through their trauma history and go, just recapping again. Anything else came to mind? I think it was really interesting. We went through the whiplash injuries. You said you'd never had an X-ray before. Is that right? And you'd had multiple car accidents above 5 or 7 miles an hour. Is that right? No one's ever checked that. No, that's interesting. I remember that. Remember, that's painting that picture, or again, painting that doubt as to why they need that X-ray and why and again, building anticipation. So the whole time you're thinking of the end result, which is they're going to see their big reveal in a moment, whether that's their scans or the X-ray or their objective measurements. And if you have, as explained before, if you don't have objective measurements, I highly recommend you find a way to bring that into your examination. So that is making it real again and finishing, if you will, or closing the loop again. You did a good job on day one, but we want to bring up that pain again so it's real. Remember, you're selling the invisible. You're selling something they can't see, touch, and feel. So the only thing that's going to determine whether it's important for them to do is if there's enough reasons for them to justify to themselves that they need it. And you've done that on day one, but you need to recap that now. That's point number 2.